Today, we're talking about rowing at a level 10 fan setting on the rowing machine. If you're new to rowing, you may have heard some conflicting accounts about level 10 fan setting on the rowing machine. Some people will try and tell you that the goal is to set the fan to level 10 because that's the most resistance and winning on the machine is rowing level 10. And on the other hand, you'll come across people who tell you under no circumstances should you ever be rowing at level 10. So with these conflicting accounts, what's the reality? And as with most things in rowing, the answer is nuanced. There is no always level 10 or never level 10. Instead, I'm here to tell you it's more about how and when to use level 10. So let's start at the beginning. The Concept2 is an air resistance rowing machine. So inside this drum is a spinning fan, and the resistance against the handle, which is connected to this chain, is created by the resistance of airflow against the fan inside this drum. And the one adjustment we have on the rowing machine when it comes to resistance is this lever here, which can take us from level 1 all the way up to level 10 and everywhere in between. And at level 1, that essentially closes the fan and restricts the amount of airflow in and out of this drum. Conversely, at level 10, it opens the fan up and it allows more air to pass in and out of the machine. So a level 10 will create more resistance over the drive of the rowing stroke, but also slow down faster in between strokes. And you can hear how quickly, after I release, the fan slows back down. And so I'm getting a ton of resistance from the machine, which allows me to push really strong, but it also gets heavier in between each stroke as I come forward on the recovery. Now, rowing is a strength endurance sport, not purely a strength sport. And endurance is the key word. If it were just a strength sport, we would approach the rowing machine much like we approach weightlifting. How much weight can we move? How high can we set the fan for each rep? But unlike weightlifting, rowing is not limited to 10 or 20 or even 30 reps. And therefore, there is the endurance side of things, which relies on our ability to take stroke after stroke after stroke for minutes and minutes on end. So if we set the fan to a level 10, we're requiring a lot of our body in terms of strength, in terms of muscular action. But we may not necessarily be maximizing our cardiovascular endurance contribution to the conversation. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, there are some people who swear by level 10. You should row level 10 as much as possible. And there are people who swear by never using level 10. And those people generally are making the argument that setting the machine to a level 10 can open you up to the potential for pain and problems and injury. And although both sides are not completely right, they're also not completely wrong. Much like weightlifting, rowing at a level 10 requires good form. A heavier load with poor form can lead to problems. If you row a level 10, if you fight the machine, if you row with poor form, you are setting yourself up for a problem. At the same time, I do believe there are benefits to rowing level 10 within certain circumstances. I would never recommend trying to do a 2,000 meter piece, 1,000 meter piece, 500 meter piece at a level 10. Although that level 10 may feel great in the initial strokes, eventually the endurance aspect of rowing kicks in and we will tire out far faster muscularly and not be taking full advantage of our cardio side over a distance of 500, 1,000, 2,000, 6,000 meters, etc. Plus, at the higher intensity, it is harder to hold good form on the rowing machine. And for that reason, I really prefer to utilize the strength benefits of level 10 rowing at lower stroke rating, lower intensity pieces. I personally have found no benefit or use for rowing level 10 at higher stroke rating, higher intensity, but throughout my rowing career and even now, will utilize level 10 rowing at 18, 20, 22 strokes per minute for prolonged periods of time. It was not uncommon back in my collegiate and national team days to row level 10 at an 18, 20, 22, and to do so for 20, 40, 60, or even 75 minutes straight. Definitely sore the next day, but it allowed focus on rowing well and feeling the resistance of the machine and then recovering in between each stroke. So if you're going to use level 10, I would recommend you use it similar to how I'm using it now. Long, low, aerobic-based pieces that through level 10 incorporate an aspect of strength training into your rowing. Now it bears repeating, level 10 rowing is only useful if you are rowing well. If you are finding yourself at an effort or a stroke per minute that is taking you away from your focus on good form, you will not be getting great benefit from level 10 and instead be setting yourself up for potential pain and problems down the road. So make sure if and when you are rowing level 10, you are doing it at lower strokes per minute, moderate intensity, and with great form. As I've spoken about in other videos, if you fight the machine, it will win. And that is nowhere more apparent than at level 10. If you fight against the machine at level 10, if you kick against the machine at level 10, if you try to over-effort things at level 10, this machine will fight back. And it will fight back with an even stronger resistance because you have set it to level 10. So level 10 rowing is really about meeting the fan at the speed that it's spinning around the front end, adding to the fan through the drive, understanding that the resistance is going to make each stroke feel like molasses. You have to work with the machine, not against it. And so it is a heavier, slower stroke with the fan dying more in between each stroke that you take. And you have to really work to connect and accelerate through as you take each stroke. Feel the core connected, hang well off the machine, glide in, and pick it up. There is no kicking out of the front end, no fighting out of the front end, no over-efforting. That will get you into trouble. So the next time you're on the machine, if you are interested in trying level 10, focus more on connection and feel with the machine and less on split. In fact, a great way to be introduced to level 10 is just flip the screen down entirely, and now it's just you and the machine. There is no focus on split, simply a focus on connection and hang and acceleration each stroke. So if you're interested in level 10, look to incorporate it into your rowing sparingly. Look to incorporate it into your rowing with great form and great attention to that form. And you can derive some strength benefits from the added resistance of the machine. If you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, share it with your friends and teammates, and know even more rowing content is coming to you soon.